Do you need fat tires on your e-bike? Stick around to find out. Hey everyone, I'm Dustin. I have nearly 20 years experience in the bike and e-bike industry, and today we're going to answer the question, do you need fat tires on your e-bike? But before we get into it, hit that subscribe button below, stay in touch with us here at 630, be the first to know about all the new content we're putting out, giveaways we're doing, of course, new product releases. All right, e-bikes are becoming very popular. You're seeing them all over the roads, and you're seeing a lot of different tire sizes. You're seeing like cruiser style tires, 2 inches wide. You've also got road bike tires, very thin on a lot of road bikes. You've also got different diameters, 16 inch, 20 inch, 24 inch, 26 inch. And one of the big differences you see with a lot of e-bike tires is the width. And you're seeing a lot of 4-inch wide, what we would call fat tire e-bike tires, which are about this wide. You've got 3-inch fat tires. And then you've got cruiser tires, which are about 2.125 inches or 2 inches in general. And those aren't really considered fat tires. Now, the fat tires are really growing in popularity. In Southern California, I see a lot of fat tire e-bikes out there with the 4-inch wide tires. And I think aesthetically, a lot of people like them. The real question is do you need fat tires? And what's the real benefit of it? So first and foremost, with a 4-inch wide fat tire, there is some truth to it balancing a little bit better on pavement. You know, just like a car, cars have very wide tires. It helps to grip the pavement a little bit better. Not necessarily going to be a bad thing to have more rubber on the road, right? The more rubber on the road, the better traction. Now, the reality is most people who are riding a bike have no issue balancing. And on e-bikes, your max speed is most likely going to be around 20 miles an hour. Now with pedal assist, in some situations, you can hit 28 miles an hour, but let's assume the top speed is 20 miles an hour. Road bikes have been going north of 20 miles an hour before electric motors on very thin tires, and riders have not had an issue balancing. Now, my point is there really an issue, or is there really a benefit to a fat tire when it comes to balance? In theory, yes. In practical application, I can't say so for sure, because again, most people getting on an e-bike are already able to balance. Now, in certain scenarios, wet conditions, again, it's going to be better to have a fatter tire, don't get me wrong. So there is some benefit if you want more traction on the road. The other really big benefit is going to be the shock absorption. The fatter tire you have, the less bumps you're going to feel in your body, because the big rubber tire will absorb as you go over curbs and up and down bumps, or you're going off-road. Having that bigger tire is going to make it a softer ride for the rider. Now that is definitely factual. If you have a very thin road bike tire and you go over a bump, you feel every bump because that bike is passing that vibration off to you because there's no tire there to actually absorb the vibration. With the big fat tire, the rubber is going to absorb that. It's not going to vibrate throughout your entire body. That is a definite plus and can be a much cushier ride, especially if you don't pump the fat tires up all the way and you maybe fill them to the lowest minimum required PSI. It's going to make it a very soft, cushy ride. Now, let's talk about the downside of fat tires on e-bikes. They're going to be extremely less efficient. What I mean by efficient, number one, is it's going to drain your battery much quicker, and it's most likely you're going to probably want to use a higher level of electric setting. Because with the fat tires, it's undoubtedly going to be harder to pedal. If you try to pedal a fat tire bike without a motor, it will be more difficult than pedaling a bike without fat tires, anything 2 inches or less. Seems very simple, right? When you're on pavement or on a street and you're riding and you have a fat tire bike and a regular 2-inch or less bike, the fat tire will be much more difficult to pedal because obviously you've got more rubber on the road, which is going to mean more resistance when you're pedaling. So as a result, most likely you're going to want to have or need to have a higher level of pedal assist going as you're using a fat tire e-bike. And if you have an e-bike with a throttle that has fat tires, if you're engaging that throttle on the fat tire e-bike, you will drain the battery quicker because the motor is going to have to work harder to power those fat tires. So it's something to think about if you are interested in doing long haul e-bike rides. The bigger the tire, the quicker you're going to drain that battery, the more resistance you're putting on the motor, which again means the motor has to work harder, the battery will drain quicker. Now, the other downside to the fat tires is should you ever need to replace your tires, you wear the treads down, which on e-bikes is not a very uncommon thing. If you're out riding a lot of miles with your e-bike, you are going to wear those treads down, and it is definitely important to have good treads on your tire, especially if you're out there on slick pavement or even on trails as well. They're going to be more expensive to replace, especially with a 4-inch wide, real knobby 26-inch tire. The cost of replacing that versus a 26-inch, 2-inch wide tire is going to be about 50% more, could be double depending on the type of tire, the type of tread you're looking at, things like that. The other piece of that I will say is the rim. The rim's going to be more expensive because you're going to have a very custom sized rim that's going to be very wide, probably about 4 inches wide as well. So those will also be costly to replace down the road. So I would say on the one side, you've got more balance, more traction on the road, but on the other side, you've got less efficiency. So it's really up to you to determine if a fat tire e-bike is the right choice for you. Kind of like SUVs, people just like the look of it. I think it looks really cool too. I don't think it's always the most practical e-bike for certain riders. But again, if you value aesthetic over practicality, I say 100% go for it. I love SUVs, minus the fact that they're not fuel efficient, but they look very cool, kind of like a fat tire e-bike. So think about the application for you, where you're going to use your e-bike, and then you can determine if you think having fat tires on your e-bike is the right choice. So, you have any other questions at all about fat tires on e-bikes? Go ahead and pop it below in the comments section, or reach out to us, the team at 630.com, or call us 310-982-2877. And don't forget, jump over to our website, 630.com, and take our proprietary body fit quiz. Answer a few questions about your body and your life, and our proprietary algorithm will recommend the perfect e-bike for you. And we have a 30-day test ride your e-bike policy. If you don't love your e-bike in the first 30 days, send it back, no questions asked, no money out of your pocket. In addition to that, we're going to warranty everything for a year. Anything goes wrong in the first year, we're going to get you the parts and labor needed to keep you up and riding. Lastly, we have a Facebook group called 630 Pedalers. Jump into the group and ask questions before you buy an e-bike so you can get comfortable in advance of purchasing. Then when you have your e-bike, post in the group, make friends, it's tons of fun. And then when you have your e-bike, you can track your rides on our app, the 630 app, available in both app stores. So thanks for sticking around, and don't forget, it's your journey, your experience. Enjoy the ride.